Hi, Nancy. Great to see you today. Thanks for taking your time. Nancy, with the international growth in private label, I'd be really keen to get your thoughts how retailers are growing private label through a multi-tiered strategy in the international markets you're operating in.
Well, it's a fantastic strategy for retailers because it gives a little value and hierarchy for each segment of the marketplace. So, for the value shoppers, for someone who wants to trade up a little bit for more of a standard range, and then you have your premium range. So it's a great strategy to bring a lot of different customers into your store and give them options. So, I think it's a winning strategy, and we've seen it a lot in the States.
And are the retailers really getting to grips with it, or are they, because we understand that the private label is growing really quite fast in the US at the moment, are retailers trying to get a private label offer of all the lines they need to have and then go for that three-tier strategy, such as good, better, best, as we used to call it? Or are they going straight in saying, right, let's win in this category, let's make sure we've got the compelling offer across the tiers where it makes sense?
Oh, I think that you really need to have that clear hierarchy for each tier. And, and all of those looks should reflect the value that you're presenting. So the budget range is, very simple, not a lot of graphics, maybe a sans serif type. The standard range adds in a little more flavor in terms of the typography and the graphics. And then the premium tier, it could be the organic or the specialty products, and that has a completely different look on its own. And really, the idea is to stay consistent within each category so shoppers can find the products they're looking for.
Yeah, and we thank you. And we've seen in the market that focus on making the value play very clear and stand out, and then that perception there that the consumer is conscious about putting the value play in their basket. So then it becomes closer to the mid tier. Where would you say the US at the moment is on that journey?
I think that they're well on the way. It's a strategy that's been around for a while, and certainly, since the 90s, we worked with Whole Foods and developed their 365 brand. Um, and that was a complete win for that retailer. That really attracted a lot of new people into the store, and it was very recognizable and easy to find. So it has been around for a while. I think what design brings to that is that we communicate the value quickly. Design can be used to persuade, and it's just paying attention to all those details and giving the customer what they want.
Yeah, no, thank you. One of the things we're seeing in the UK at the moment, and it's also been mirrored in the financial reporting that came out of Australia last week for their major retailers, is that real growth in the premium category, because it's obviously driving sales, it's helping profitability, and we're beginning to see in store now a different level of execution where you can go to the fixture and everything in that fixture can be a premium brand within that category. So a premium brand of sausages, there's a fixture of premium brand of preserves and condiments, there's a fixture of or value added meat as examples, as opposed to having that tiering cycle where you've got, your value, your mid tier, and then you've got your premium product there. Are you seeing the premium products in the US at that extent or not at the moment?
I kind of think it's maybe not quite as to that extent. I think the UK brings a little more sophistication in terms of design that I don't really see in the US. Um, I often look to the UK for inspiration because I think they hone in on a really good system right away and they put a lot into it. So it shows. The premium lines look just as good as a national brand. So I think that we look to over the pond to for inspiration on that level.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. Thank you, Nancy. I think that market has changed significantly the last couple of years. I think, I remember when Finest products first launched in some of the retailers here under different banners, depending which retailer we're looking at. But it does feel the last couple of years as consumers have spent more in the supermarket so they can eat at home more, at instead of eating out so much, because ultimately you spend a little bit more in the supermarket and you're saving from dining out. And I think the retailers have really sensed that and definitely up their game in that space, which is super interesting in this market. Nancy, as I said before, I'm a big fan of almost one of your local retailers, Loblaws, and President's Choice, and the ultimate chocolate chip cookie and the story behind that. How are we seeing the sort of ultimate approach in food and non-food reflected across the wider US market?
Well, that's such a classic example, that the President's Choice, was just really a barn burner in terms of how private label developed. Yeah, I think we, definitely see the emergence of that. And, certainly in the US, we've got inflation that's coming down, but it's still, prices are still high. And having an alternative premium level, I think is a nice way to balance that, as you say, that folks are, want to treat themselves to something good, but maybe not going out to dinner as much. So yeah, it's an excellent strategy. And I think, it's for the retailers, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, I'd agree totally. I think it's becoming a very interesting space where maybe the guardrails around premium products are changing slightly, so that it's become a lot more, I would say, about food and not necessarily leading with provenance or breed as it was in the early days. And I think Ultimate, continues to be just the best tasting product. So I think there's that. I wonder whether we're going to come to that crossover point where Ultimate and Finest almost become the same product, because they're both serving a different purpose in the market together. So that's an area I'm finding super interesting. Just to go on to the Australian market just briefly, what we're seeing in the Australian market is the retailers launching brands now that are coming together across the store. So with health and wellness being such a key growth area in multiple markets, they've launched, a wellness brand, a health brand that is linking the products around the fresh and the grocery sector of the store, which is really quite interesting, and that's resonating very well. Also continuing to see growth in organics, and I think you've got that 3-tier structure plus organics in the category where it's popular. And I think also then the continuation of the Finest ranges as we're talking about. So I think, from what I'm seeing in the market at the moment, Nancy, I'd say that the rules around tiering have changed significantly over recent years, probably accelerated by the focus on consumer spending to try and give consumers more choice. And ultimately, I think it's helping the brands or helping the retailers list more product that they're trying to distinguish clearly, so consumers on a tight budget know exactly what they're looking for, and they do understand there's a slight difference between that product and a premium product in that category. But if I was advising any retailer at the moment, or a retailer watching this call, for me it would be very much about setting out the clear tiering that's right for their business and their customers, and having that vision around, what do you need today to win, and make sure you've got private label across all the areas that you should have for private label, and ultimately grow the core. And where do your customers then give you permission to move into adjacent categories, and then use some of the brands that we've talked about in this discussion there to really create great value and exciting products.
Yeah, we're trying to get the consumer to spend more in our store, not, go to 6 or 7 other different stores, which, we find ourselves doing a lot. But, it would be great to get everything that you needed in one place and to have those options. So it's really a win-win.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Nancy, thanks for your time. Great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, Mark. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Thank you.